Today I'm going to begin sharing some of the more than 400 credible reports that we've received on the troubling cultural issues impacting our military. Make no mistake about it, the military is still the strongest in the world. But wokeism, identity politics, critical race theory, and blatant political activism have indeed seeped into this critical institution. Many of these issues involved mandated instruction on critical race theory, instances of preferential treatment, violations of free speech, and a decline in focus on merit-based advancement. And we want to have a reasonable discussion over these issues so we can keep these problems from compounding. Because DoD has some of the weakest whistleblower protections across the entire federal government, we will only share the details necessary while preserving confidentiality. Here's the first one. It involves a case of something called privilege walks, and yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. This is training that was required of members of an Air Force squadron, including senior leadership, designed to separate members physically regardless of rank or merit or commendations. This is how the training went. Commands were given. If you are white, take a step forward. If you are male, take a step forward, and so on, through every possible point of privilege one might have according to their intersectional hierarchy. The training was designed to physically separate people and more or less demean and diminish the success of those with privilege. They didn't get where they are based on their own merit, which is indeed a funny thing to do in the military because that's exactly what happens. You get to where you are because of your merit. So let's just point out the obvious. This is meant to shame people, and shame people for something they have no control over. It also literally creates manufactured divisions in an environment that requires camaraderie and puts down certain service members over others, not on merit, but on skin color or gender. When did it ever become the mission of the military to force service members to confront their so-called privilege? What value does this provide? We're all individuals. You are not the sum of your identity groups. This is complete nonsense, and it has no place in our military. We cannot let the armed forces become some sort of massive social justice experiment, which is clearly what some want. This is just one example of hundreds. We're going to keep exposing this because there are too many senior officers in the military that are pushing for this. So stay tuned for more examples and the kind of woke training our service members are receiving in today's military, how it's hurting morale, and how it's hurting our readiness.